everyone, welcome back to Harry Makes Up. Feels good to be back doing this again regularly. Today I am going to show you a look that I did on a shoot last week. It was lots of blue and I'm in a kind of like blue mood right now, but I also want to share with you a really good tip for wearing matte foundation no matter what your skin type is. So conventionally speaking, when we talk about matte foundation, I feel like obviously if you have a more oily skin tone or more skin type, then a matte foundation is probably going to be more towards the finish that you would lean to. However, I feel like matte foundations are very beautiful on the skin. They can be very sophisticated. And I also like playing with textures as well when I'm playing with, so if I have quite a shimmery eye or a wet look eye, sometimes quite a nice matte skin is a nice juxtaposition. So I have this one from NARS, which is new. This is their new Soft Matte Complete Foundation. Love that it comes in a squeezy tube. The name is on the top. I'm gonna hold it here so you guys can see. And I'm gonna start with the shade Light 5. Now, someone like me, I have dehydrated skin and more drier skin. What I will say is you're gonna need more skin prep. I think it's all in the skin prep is kind of the key to this looking good. So I've started with Weleda Skin Food Light, this one, which I think is amazing. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use on me, because my skin needs it, something like Glossier Future Dew. So this is like a hybrid oil serum. But if you didn't have this, you could definitely use something like Vintner's Daughter or some kind of facial oil. And I'm gonna add a little bit of glow under this because I have more dehydrated areas on my skin. And for me, I want the matte foundation to still have a bit of life. So I won't have to use as much powder. Obviously, if you have really, really dry skin, then you might just want to, this may not be for you, but I just wanted to give you some tips that I definitely think do work when it comes to playing around with a matte foundation. So if you've got dry skin like me, just make sure your skin is nice and prepped first. So I'm going to go in with this new foundation from NARS. This is the Soft Matte Complete Foundation. I'm going to use the shade Fiji Light 5. And I'm going to use a Zoeva Finish Silk brush. So you can see when I go in straight away, it's quite a lot of coverage in this. So I'm going to start with less and really work it in first. And I like to start my coverage in the areas where I need more coverage. So for me, that will always be around the inside of my face. And then I will balance out as I move along. So for me, when I use a matte foundation, the biggest benefit is I don't really need as much powder. So that is one of the reasons that I personally will go for a matte foundation. It's nice if I want something very long wearing, often when I do TV as a makeup artist, or if I am doing red carpet and they're gonna be on the red carpet a long time or kind of going from event to event. That is when I sometimes will use a more matte foundation. And in doing so as well, it's not only that it's long lasting, it's also very low maintenance. And just as I'm buffing it out, I want to come in close so you guys can see the texture and see it on my skin, how that's looking. Now I know it looks less matte at the moment, but that is because I've kind of prepped my skin knowing that this foundation, what's going to do, it's going to kind of like suck the moisture out anyway as it kind of dries down to a matte finish. And for me, I just need that little bit of extra glow just to stop it looking flat on my skin. But even now I've had this on for a few minutes, I feel like you can see it's kind of setting. So it really does start to kind of lose the glow quite quickly. I have a little bit on the tops of my cheekbones, but generally speaking, you will see it start to kind of like remove the glow as the formula kind of sets down, which is why I could get away with having quite a bit of kind of like oil before I went in with the foundation. Next top trick when you are using a matte foundation, especially if you have a more normal to dry skin, is to watch your under eye area. I do find with the matte foundation, sometimes it can kind of cling to any skin under the eye. So I'm gonna take a bit of eye cream. This is actually the Charlotte Tilbury one. I've just popped it into a little pot because I use it when I travel. And the tiniest amount, guys, like literally this isn't even a grain of rice. But I want to go in now. Actually, you could do this before the foundation, but sometimes I find it almost gives a bit of slip to the concealer and just removes a little bit of excess foundation around the eye so you don't get too much caking. So I'm just putting a little bit of this around the eye area. Not too close to my lash line because we all know I have difficult eyes and mascara can be tricky around those areas. Of course, I'm going to use a little bit of my M Cosmetics brow cream in blonde because you guys know I love to be able to get a bit of texture in my brow. So I have nothing on my eyelids at this point apart from a little bit of what was left on the foundation brush, but I'm going to go in first with this colour by Kosas. This is so amazing. This is their 10-second eyeshadow. Look how beautiful that colour is. It's very, very watery, so just be careful not to tip this over. I'm actually going to put a bit on a palette, and then I'm going to start first with a more flat top brush. So this is a Zoeva 232. And I'm going to take this as like a wash. So it gives me a little something to blend into, because the next colour I'm using is very, very intense. And then I'm going to take a bigger, softer brush as well to do a quick blend. Now we come to the very, very exciting part. I'm going to use this from Smith & Co. Look at that colour. Isn't that just stunning? It's so good. This is their Glitter Baby in the shade Royal Blue. Now I'm going to make sure I've got some brushes ready. I mean, I feel like we need a real close-up so you guys can get like the pure magic of how pretty. And it almost has like a sort of pink reflex running through it. And then I want to make sure I go a little bit over so I've got a bit of room to blend with. And then I'm actually going to take quite a stiff brush first. This is another Zoeva one, because I want to make sure I get that blend nice and clean. And what's amazing about these is as you blend, can you see it goes darker? It almost releases this like sort of sooty underneath pigment. It's so, so beautiful. So I'm going to use my finger again because it's cream. It's quite easy to sort of play with and navigate with other colours. Are we living for this blue, or are we living for this blue? Isn't it just like the best colour? And once you've got enough of a blend, you can actually go back in now and like relayer, so it really, really pops on the centre of the lid. So, but it just creates this like smoky look without even having to do anything. That's what's so amazing about it. And I'm gonna join up as well. Let me come in a little bit closer. Oh, it's just such a good colour. Then you want to blend pretty quickly, so I've got a clean brush now. I'm just going to make sure I soften before that sets. You get very little play time, and then once it's in place, it really will not budge. Okay, next up, I want this to be super, super intense. I'm going to take the Pixie Endless Eye Pencil in black, and I'm going to tight line top and bottom. Now this is such an intense black coal. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to smudge it. I kind of think I like the idea of it just being really black on the inside. Kind of like that. I feel like it instantly gets like that much, it just has like a much deeper intensity now. And then once the product is dry, the cream eyeshadow, I'm just going back in with a fluffy brush again, and I'm just going to do one last kind of blend on the smokiness. But to me, it's so crazy that this all comes from like one eyeshadow. The intensity, you don't need to put any black shadow in. It just, I mean, if you look at it in the bottle, you can almost see there's like different reflections in there. It's so, so good. So mascara, I want big, bad lashes. I think individuals would look amazing as well with this, but because it's so intense, it's really all about the colour blue. So just before I go in with the mascara, I've curled my lashes, and I've just gone back in one more time, just with a more precise brush. And I just want to make sure that blue, can you see on this side how it really, really pops? I've just gone over again, really, really close to the lash line, just to bring the intensity back, so that along the lash line and along the lid, we've done all the blending work now. We just have that kind of really, really fierce, intense look. So you guys already know I love this mascara. This is the NARS Climax Extreme mascara, and I do find it to be particularly fantastic when you want like a really, really bold, intense lash. And for me, this is like as good as I can get to like a sort of false lash look with mascara. So I'm just gonna do a few coats of this to the tops and bottoms. Okay, so we have the eyeshadow on, and I love the way this looks. I'm now going to go in to kind of keep that sort of matte look. I feel like this concealer is a good one kind of like for in between skin types. So this is the Bare Minerals Pro. This is light medium neutral 05. So I'm going to take this, and this is my own one. It's got kind of still a creamy formula though, even though it looks really good with matte foundations. And I'm just going to use this anywhere. Take my Real Technique setting brush, and I'm just going to start to tidy up. So I'm just going to use this around the eye area, being very, very careful not to kind of disrupt any of the work we've already done. One tip I will say is be careful you don't ever get any of the pigment on your concealer brush and then kind of drag it through. I'm going to take this. This is great because it's kind of good for covering anywhere really where I just need to do a bit of perfecting, a bit of neatening. And again, once there's very little product on the brush, I can just skim that through my brow just to tidy up. So I've just done a little bit under my eyes. I'm just going to do like a dot more. I find this one's really good because you really can kind of tailor the coverage to what you need. I'm just going to keep buffing. And then I can also use this anywhere where I feel like I've got a bit of redness. So if I need to do a little bit around here, a little bit in my chin area, it's very easy just to kind of pinpoint conceal. So let's get a little bit closer so you guys can see. I feel like the one thing I really wanted to start doing more is being able to let you guys kind of see the makeup up close, blending and all. So I'm just going to do a little bit more blending on the outer corner. I'm just going to make sure when I look ahead. So one thing I can see actually is I've removed a little bit too much on that outer corner. So I'm just going to go back with a dry brush. And there we go. It just needed like that little bit adding on that corner there. So with a dry brush with hardly any pigment, I'm just going to re-go over now that I've done my concealer. Okay, next up I'm going to take some powder. This is the Ambient Lighting Powder in Ethereal Light from Hourglass. Now, my second tip would be that if you do have drier skin and you still want a matte look that's matte, not flat, then just take a powder with the slightest amount of light reflection in. So for me, if I'm setting a matte foundation, I know that I just need something with a little bit, and it's incredibly subtle. It's one of those things that you can't even really see it close up, but it just means that skin still looks real. It still looks alive, and more importantly, not flat. So I'm just taking this to do a light dusting of powder over the skin. And then I'm going to go in, I'm going to take Fiona Styles. This is the contour, this is the medium to dark contour powder. And I'm going to take the light to medium shades together on a Charlotte Tilbury sculpting brush. And I want to just add a little bit of shape to my skin now, so to my face. So I'm going to start there. And I always start with the point with this brush and I work towards the top of my ear, and then my circles get bigger as I go along. You see? So I don't want to take it too close to my mouth. I'm going to do the same thing again. And then the circles get bigger. So you see, I'm going to start with the point, and then it's like you're blending as you're going. And go towards the tops of your ear, so you don't have kind of a point where it stops and starts. And when I look straight on, you can just see there's more definition now. If ever you go over too much, you can always go back to your powder brush and just knock off. Kind of just blend again a little bit so you don't have too much of a V going too close to your lip area. And then I'm going to take this palette from Pixie. I'm going to use this kind of subtle pinky shade. Just want to bring in a little bit of colour back to my cheeks, but a small amount, nothing too much. Just a little bit. I just wanted the smallest bit of pink. Again, you can go back to your concealer brush if you need to. Just make sure you need to blend. And I'm not going to use a highlighter with this just because the eyes are so intense, and obviously you could. A gleamy, sheamy look would look amazing as well, but I just want it to be like matte, not flat, and all about the eyes. For lips, I want something really, really simple, really pared back, and I'm going to use this from Code Beauty. This is a really, really pretty shade. What is this called? I think this is AM PM. Yeah, so I'm going to use this shade, which is a really, really nice, soft, very close to my own lip colour. There's a little bit of pearl in there. So this is nice because this has a little bit of sheen in as well, so it's kind of reflecting the eye, but then we still have that kind of more satin skin. A little bit over my lip line, and I'm going to just do my patting trick. So I'm just going to pat a little bit of that colour out, and then I'm just going to use my Dior lip pencil, which I'm obsessed with. This is Brown Fig, and I'm just going to add a little bit of extra shape. So that that's the finished look, guys. I really hope you enjoyed that. Leave me a thumbs up if you want more videos on YouTube, and let me know in the comments below what you'd like to see more of. Don't forget, if you are a makeup artist, to check out my free training, link down below, how to be a makeup artist in the digital age and pivot your business right now. So lots of tips and support and motivation over there. And I also have a new Instagram account called Harry Makes Up Academy, which is just for makeup artists. So my usual beauty content over on Harry Makes It Up, but I wanted somewhere where I could kind of really focus as well on creating content that's just for makeup artists. So if you're a makeup artist, please head there and check that out. I would love you guys to subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you for the next one.